winter of 1846, a group of pioneers set out for a new life in California. What should have been a journey of hope and discovery turned into one of the darkest chapters in American history. Trapped by snow, starving, and facing certain death, they were forced to make unthinkable choices. This is the story of the Donner Party, a tale of human endurance, survival, and unimaginable horror. The year was 1846. The promise of a new beginning in the fertile lands of California was a beacon of hope for many settlers. Hundreds of families packed their lives into covered wagons, heading west on the California Trail, a journey that stretched over 2,000 miles from Missouri to the Promised Land. Among these pioneers was a group of 87 men, women, and children known as the Donner Reed Party, led by brothers George and Jacob Donner and James Reed. Like so many others, they were lured by the dream of wealth and opportunity. But what set the Donner Party apart was their fateful decision to follow a new route, one that promised to shorten their journey, but would ultimately lead them to disaster. As the Donner Party approached Fort Bridger, Wyoming, they were faced with a crucial choice. A man named Lansford Hastings had devised a supposed shortcut through the Sierra Nevada mountains, one that promised to shave weeks off their journey. But Hastings had never actually taken this route himself. His cutoff would lead the party through the Great Salt Desert, a treacherous stretch of land with little water and no clear path. Despite warnings from fellow travelers, the Donner Party took the gamble. It was a decision that would prove catastrophic. The desert took a heavy toll. Oxen died, wagons broke down, and supplies dwindled. What was supposed to be a shortcut ended up costing the group precious time they could not afford to lose as winter approached. By the time the Donner Party reached the Sierra Nevada mountains, it was late October. Snow was already falling and winter was setting in early. As they attempted to cross the mountains, the snows became relentless, burying the trails and cutting off any chance of escape. They were trapped, miles from civilization, with no way forward and no way back. The pioneers set up camp near Truckee Lake, now called Donner Lake, hoping to wait out the storm. But as the days turned to weeks, and the weeks to months, their situation grew more desperate. The food supplies ran out. Starvation set in. With no food left, the Donner Party tried to survive on whatever they could find, boiling leather hides from their wagons, eating tree bark, and trapping small animals. But it wasn't enough. As the hunger grew unbearable, some members of the party made the unimaginable decision to turn to cannibalism. The first to die from starvation became a source of sustenance for those who remained alive. The details of who ate whom are still debated, but the harsh reality was undeniable. In the face of certain death, some did what they had to do to survive. They weren't monsters. They were human beings, driven to the edge of sanity by the cruelest of circumstances. In mid-December, with no end to the snow in sight, a group of 15 survivors, later known as the Forlorn Hope, made a desperate attempt to cross the mountains and find help. They knew it was their last chance. Armed with only a few scraps of food and makeshift snowshoes, they ventured out into the wilderness. The journey was grueling. Exhaustion, starvation, and the bitter cold claimed several lives along the way. But after 33 brutal days, 7 of the group finally stumbled into a Native American village. Against all odds, help was on its way. These Native Americans and a small team of rescuers made it back to the trapped Donner Party, but it was too late for many. By the time help arrived, nearly half of the original 87 members were dead. The story of the Donner Party shocked the nation. Newspapers sensationalized the gruesome details of cannibalism, casting the survivors as tragic figures and, in some cases, monsters. But the truth was far more complex. The members of the Donner Party were pioneers, not villains. They were ordinary people who had set out with the same hopes and dreams as countless others before them. But when faced with impossible odds, they were forced to make unimaginable choices. In the end, 48 people survived the ordeal, but the scars of that terrible winter would last a lifetime. Today, the story of the Donner Party is remembered as one of the darkest tales in the history of the American frontier, but it's also a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, how far people will go to survive, even when all hope seems lost. The memory of what happened in those mountains has not been forgotten. The tragedy serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of hubris, poor decisions, and the unforgiving nature of the wilderness. The Donner Party may be gone, but their story lives on, reminding us of the fragile line between civilization and savagery, one that can be crossed by even the most ordinary of people when pushed to the brink of survival. Like, subscribe, and share for more stories from history.